All right, peace and welcome to the culture here on the Black Star Network. I'm your host, Farajii Muhammad. Thank you so much for tuning in and being a part of the conversation. Folks, we got a lot to talk about. First and foremost, let's talk about presidential candidate Nikki Haley that is under a lot of fire and receiving some backlash from some comments that she made about the Civil War. It was a very straightforward question. And guess what? You couldn't believe the type of fumbling she did and missing one of the biggest pieces of American history. We'll talk a little bit about that. Also, we're going to talk about Simone Biles' husband, Jonathan Owens. That's right. I got to introduce him as that because you probably don't even know who he is, but he plays for the Green Bay Packers. But he has some things to say about men in relationships. We're going to be checking in with certified relationship coach Trinette Collier to discuss how he said that men are the catch. Really? Maybe. I don't know. We'll talk a little bit about that, and we'll talk about how you can build family bonds through understanding and knowing your collective history. Folks, stay with us. It's all happening on today's edition of The Culture right here on the Black Star Network. Crew, let's get ready to go. All right, folks, welcome to the culture here on the Black Star Network. I'm your host, Farajii Muhammad. Thank you so much for tuning in and being a part of the conversation as we have these big discussions. And we are streaming live right now on our home website of blackstarnetwork.com. Just download the app for free. Follow us on social media at Black Star Network. And more importantly, folks, we ask for your financial donations. It makes all the difference in the world, especially as we are embarked upon the final week of 2023, we need your support. So go to our website today, download the app again, but more importantly, we ask for any amount that you can spare. We know the holiday season was upon us, and we know that some of us might be like, oh, I'm strapped for cash or whatever the case may be. But your support means the world to us, and it doesn't matter how much it is, as long as the spirit to give, to invest, to support us is there. We truly thank you for your donation. And again, we hope that you continue to watch us and more importantly, continue to help us to grow as we move forward. Now, we're also on Amazon News. You can check us out on Amazon News on your Fire TV. Just go to our Amazon, your Roku TV or your Fire TV. Find us there, and you can definitely check us out. We're also on Amazon Prime Video, folks. That's right, Prime Video. Find us on the Prime Video app under Live TV, then go to News, or find us on Amazon.com under Prime Video, Live TV, the News. We're also on Freevee, where you can find us on now under News. That's right, the Freevee Network. Big shout out to Freevee for carrying us. And we're on Plex TV, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Just search for Black Star Network on Plex TV or find us under Live TV, the News and Opinion. All right, folks. We are on social media platforms, so make sure y'all do your due diligence. Check us out on 3 major social media platforms that we are streaming on at this point. And there's also on these platforms where you can find us on the Online Culture Crew, but we're streaming right now on Roland Martin's Facebook page. We're streaming right now on Roland Martin's YouTube page. And for all of those who are on X, our Culture Crew on the X platform. That's right. Thank you so much for tuning in and being a part of the conversation. If you're on Facebook, thank you so much for joining us, crew, on Facebook. You can also post your comments on the Facebook page as being part of the Facebook chat that's always happening. And then, of course, the YouTube chat. That's where you can find it. There we go. Our Online Culture Crew on the YouTube chat is always jumping and always moving around and making things happen. So big shout out to the Online Culture Crew. Gene Smith, I see you. Thank you so much for checking in. You said, good afternoon, brother Farajii, producer, special guest in the Culture family. Good afternoon, Gene. Thank you so much for checking in. Ming Lee, Natasha Serge. Ming Lee, thank you so much for, why your face like that, Ming Lee? Why you put that little crazy, put that face up there like that? All right, Ming, thank you so much for checking in. Sydney D, I see you. Thank you for checking in. Robin Welch, thank you for checking in once again. Always a good thing to have you a part of the conversation, Robin. Thank you. Lana, my sister, Lana, always bringing that fire, that heat, that love for our people. So, Lana, thank you for checking in. My brother, Conscious Thought, good afternoon, Culture Crew. Good afternoon, Conscious Thought. Always good to have you, bro. And I can't wait to hear what you got to say. I know you're going to have something to say on these topics, Conscious Thought. So make sure you get ready to post them. The ABX girl, you checking in. Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. Love what you bring to the conversation. So thank you, as you always do. Mean Streets, you already jumping into the discussion. I see you. And we're going to get to that question. What do you want me to say about slavery? Nikki Haley asked. Yeah, Mean Streets. We got a lot of work to do. Karen Connor, my sister, checking in. As always, my sister Karen, thank you so much for being there, being super supportive of the work we're doing. Pastor Damon Blissett. Pastor, I'm glad that you and your family are back at home, brother, and I hope all is well. And I know you've been having a week of trial of, these past couple of weeks been tough for you and the family, but I hope everybody is slowly recovering and getting through it. And we are praying for you, Pastor Damon. Thank you so much. Who else we got in here? Jacqueline Rivera, thank you so much for checking in. Welcome to the chat. Chef Carter, welcome to the chat. Thank you so much for checking in as always. All right, Chef Carter, I see you. Almost thought we wasn't going to be on today. No, we're on today, Chef Carter. Thank you so much. All right, folks, let's talk. Let's talk a little bit. Nikki Haley, if y'all haven't heard about what Miss Nikki Haley had to say, I want to make sure that we let me just share this, and then let's see if we can kind of talk about this, because I think that it's indicative of something else that's happening in this country, which is why I wanted us to have a discussion about this. When she has backpedaled on her comments, a question that was a simple question that she was posed about the Civil War, she made a statement. And in the course of that statement, she did not acknowledge the very, very big thing around the history of the Civil War, why the Civil War happened. Now, when you think about American history, folks, you would think that as much as the GOP often talks about the importance of the American of history, the importance of America and understanding America, why is it so hard for members of the GOP to recognize that Black people were not just a part of American history, but our oppression is ingrained in American history? Why is that so hard? Why is that so hard? At this point, you look silly trying to act as if certain things did not happen in history. Now, it's history. Now, we're not at that place. It's been over 100 years since we've been in that place, right? So why is it just simply so hard to admit that, you know what, this happened? Because you make yourself look even more foolish when you can't admit to something that has happened, that's something that we have all been taught in schools. I'm talking about the adults. Now, today's standards, we're not talking about slavery, right? We're fighting to talk about slavery in today's classroom, folks. Y'all hear me when I'm saying that? We're fighting to talk about slavery, even though we know without a shadow of doubt it happened. More importantly, we're fighting just to talk about it, as if just simply talking about what has happened to Black people in this country is a problem. It's a real problem. Look, I got to take a quick pause. When we come back, I'm going to share with you what Miss Nikki Haley had to say in a simple question when she was asked at a New Hampshire town hall, when a voter bluntly asked the question, what was the cause of the Civil War? I want y'all to hear me. What was the cause of the Civil War? I'll share with you when we come forward what Miss Presidential candidate Nikki Haley had to say, and why this is exactly why we can't put certain people in office, and this is exactly why we have a big problem in America if we can't admit to the very, very known truth of what has happened in this country called history. Let's talk about it. Stay with me, folks. We've got a lot to cover. I want to certainly get your take on this. And of course, stay tuned. It's The Culture here on the Black Star Network.
When you talk about blackness and what happens in black culture, we're about covering these things that matter to us, speaking to our issues and concerns.
This is a genuine people-powered movement.
There's a lot of stuff that we're not getting. You get it, and you spread the word.
We wish to plead our own cause. Too long have others spoken for us. We cannot tell our own story if we can't pay for it. This is about covering us. Invest in black-owned media. Your dollars matter. We don't have to keep asking them to cover our stuff. So please support us in what we do, folks. We want to hit 2,000 people, $50 this month, raise $100,000. We're behind 100,000, so we want to hit that. Y'all money makes this possible. Check some money orders. Go to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. The Cash App is $RM Unfiltered. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle is roland@rolandsmartin.com.
I'm Farajii Muhammad, live from LA. And this is The Culture. The Culture is a two-way conversation. You and me. We talk about the stories, politics, the good, the bad, and the downright ugly. So join our community every day at 3 p.m. Eastern and let your voice be heard. Hey, we're all in this together. So let's talk about it and see what kind of trouble we can get into. It's The Culture, weekdays at 3, only on the Black Star Network.
Folks, Black Star Network is here.
Oh, no punches!
I'm real revolutionary right now.
Support this man, Black Media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America, Roland.
Stay black. I love y'all.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, this difference between Black Star Network and black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig?
All right, folks, welcome to The Culture here on the Black Star Network. I'm your host, Farajii Muhammad. All right, now, big culture convo today is this situation around Nikki Haley. And the more and more I'm reading, and I got some stuff up, I'm going to share it with you, crew. The more and more, it just becomes worse and worse over, the more she tries to quote unquote clean it up, the worse it gets. And it's a simple thing, folks. This is a simple thing. Here's the thing. Here's the story real quick. Nikki Haley stumping, she's doing her campaigning. She's at a town hall in Berlin, New Hampshire, folks. Berlin, New Hampshire. Small state, small town hall, but she's making her rounds. Someone in the audience asked her a simple question. What was the cause of the Civil War? She said, let's put the quote up, please. Look at this answer, y'all. When she was asked what was the cause of the Civil War, she said, I think the cause of the Civil War was basically how government was going to run, the freedoms and what people could and couldn't do. That was the beginning of her response. Then she went on to say, I think it always comes down to the role of government and what the rights of the people are. And I will always stand by the fact that I think government was intended to secure the rights and freedoms of the people. It was never meant to be all things to all people. It was meant, and not she didn't say it was never meant. It was meant to be, it was never meant to be all things to all people. Even that response is problematic. How do you answer a question about the Civil War, a direct, blunt question about the Civil War, and not say the war happened because there was slavery? How does that happen, folks? How do you go? Then she went into this long thing. to defend her stance on government and protecting people's freedoms and capitalism. But you didn't even answer the question. As a matter of fact, who said this in the crew, y'all? And post your comments, because this is absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. Who said this? One of you in the crew said that this was deflection. And it's more than just deflection. It's insulting. How do you not recognize this part of American history when you are a part of the party who are supposed to be promoting American values? The least you could have said was it was about slavery. And then just go on and say, but that was a certain time in America and people didn't have freedoms and they had to secure their rights, but it was about us holding another group of people, another nation of people enslaved. Then you go into your diatribe about liberties and protecting freedoms and economics of the whole matter, but it was about slavery. How do you not say that about the Civil War in a history that is something that is literally in books? Millions of words have been published. Thousands of books have talked about this. And you mean as a presidential candidate, you cannot even come up and say this thing was about slavery? Are we that far gone? Is white America, and I'm not saying all of white America, but is some of white America that far gone that you can't even say the word slavery? You just want to act as if it totally did not exist, that institution that did exist for over 400 years, and it's still the remnants of it still exist nearly 500 years later. It's still in existence. You can't even admit to that. This is the person that's running for president of the United States. You can't admit that slavery was the cause of the Civil War. It wasn't about no government. Oh man, it's about government. The country was totally unstable. But the part that destabilized the country was the fact that you had this institution. Now, we're not going to get into, what was the real reason behind President Abraham Lincoln's signing the Emancipation Proclamation. We're not going to get into all of that. That's a lot of history. And many of us should know this, right? But just a simple acknowledgement of a very real truth. That's the part I'm getting to, folks. And crew, I want to get your take on this. Post your comments on our Facebook page. That's we're streaming on the Roland Martin Facebook page. We're streaming on the Roland Martin YouTube page. I want to get your take on this. She can't even admit it, man. This is crazy. And these are people who want to run the country, but you can't admit to something that actually happened, that is documented, that we all have been taught in school. You can't even say it. Now, look, this is where it gets crazy. So she's facing this backlash. She went on a radio show in New Hampshire called The Pulse. And she goes on the radio show, two things. She said that the person that asked her the question was a Democratic plant. Now you want us to believe that. A Democratic plant. For simply asking you a question about history, something that you should just be able to just say, wouldn't have gotten this far. Now you want to say this is a Democratic plant because somebody asked you. They didn't say you said this about Civil War. You said that. They asked you what was the cause of the Civil War. Let me share with you how USA Today presented this whole situation, how she presented her response to this backlash that she's getting. Republican presidential candidate Nikki Haley, who was facing backlash over her response to a question about the Civil War at a New Hampshire campaign event, alleged without evidence Thursday that the questioner was potentially a Democratic plant, meaning somebody set that person up to pose a question about the Civil War. Come on, man. And as USA Today said, alleged without evidence. What alternative universe are these people working from? I can't understand it, crew. Let me go to y'all, because I can't get it. I can't get it. Let's see here. I saw somebody say that we're all rolling with Trump. Don't forget about Nikki. I mean, and I know we got people in the chat that, y'all push your little, Trump 2024 thing. It was whatever. You know what I'm saying? The chat will handle how you want to handle it. That's no problem. And you can talk whatever you want, but I'm talking about simple principles of intelligence. I'm talking about simple principles of acknowledging history. Why do you have to misinterpret all of this stuff to get your agenda across? If your agenda, and I'm talking about for GOP folks who are on this stance, if your agenda is the right agenda, if it's the best choice, if it's a righteous cause that you're taking upon, why do you have to manipulate and try to get us to believe the alternative facts and take us into a space of Black Mirror Twilight Zone delusion for you to get your agenda across if it stands the test of time, if it stands on something strong like the truth? Why you got to do all of the massaging and checking and I mean, why do all of that? If it's the truth, if your agenda is the alternative agenda, the agenda that the American people should hold on to, you should not be bringing us into a state of lying. You should not be encouraging us to be delusional or to forget the fact that there's history. Why do all of that if your agenda is sufficient, if it has the foundation of truth? Oh, wow. Yeah. You wouldn't have to make up all of the other stuff. You wouldn't have to omit nothing. And if you get to that place, and we got to take another pause, if we get to this place in our American history and talking about choosing the next president of the United States, but the next president of the United States should be able to, they should be able to accept all of the history of America. Black people have been taught that we must accept that. Every element, every piece of information, every piece of news, we need to accept it all. How can the American people have been taught to accept it all, but the people who is leading the American people can just take out information, omit information, massage information so it can fit your little agenda without speaking to the truth? How do you elect somebody like that? All right, let me see something here. Let me just see this. Frankie, you said, why are we talking about someone who isn't winning? So who is delusional? Frankie, let me tell you why we're talking about someone who isn't winning. She still got supporters. She still got followers. If Trump is in so much that she is looking at being the quote unquote rising star from this group of candidates. So if she thinks that this is okay, I don't care whether she's winning or losing, it don't matter. Somewhere across the line, somebody got to check. When you have a person on a large platform like Nikki Haley's platform, she's running for president of the United States, she has served in an official capacity, and you can't admit to the truth, then you are dangerous. You are a problem. I don't care if I'm not thinking about election. I'm thinking about the American person, the citizen of this country who hears that and who will embrace that BS that she put out there instead of embracing the truth of the matter. That's why we're talking about this. We want to act like people's lies don't carry weight. People's delusions aren't significant. And that's the problem in this country. That's one of the many problems. We're like, oh, no, we can move past that. No, we can't. The country is falling apart, Frankie. And you know why? Because people don't want to come to the truth, bro. So how can we move on? She's not winning. Doesn't matter. It does matter because she still got a platform. People still listen to what she has to say. And it's insulting to the history of Black people to not be acknowledged for the pain and suffering that this country has done to us. It's insulting. You can't acknowledge the institution of slavery? So how the hell do I expect you to acknowledge the pain and suffering that I'm experiencing in 2023 going into 2024? Make it make sense, Frankie. All right, look, we got to take another pause. When we come back, more conversation. Let's share your thoughts. Stay with me, folks, as we talk about this situation of Nikki Haley backpedaling on her comments about civil rights, on the Civil War. Excuse me. Stay with us. It's the culture here on the Black Star Network.
Folks, Black Star Network is here.
I'm real revolutionary right now.
Support this man, Black Media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America, Roland.
I love y'all.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, this difference between Black Star Network and black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig?
I'm Farajii Muhammad, live from LA. And this is The Culture. The Culture is a two-way conversation. You and me. We talk about the stories, politics, the good, the bad, and the downright ugly. So join our community every day at 3 p.m. Eastern and let your voice be heard. Hey, we're all in this together. So let's talk about it and see what kind of trouble we can get into. It's The Culture, weekdays at 3, only on the Black Star Network.
When you talk about blackness and what happens in black culture, we're about covering these things that matter to us, speaking to our issues and concerns.
This is a genuine people-powered movement.
There's a lot of stuff that we're not getting. You get it, and you spread the word.
We wish to plead our own cause. Too long have others spoken for us. We cannot tell our own story if we can't pay for it. This is about covering us. Invest in black-owned media. Your dollars matter. We don't have to keep asking them to cover our stuff. So please support us in what we do, folks. We want to hit 2,000 people, $50 this month, raise $100,000. We're behind 100,000, so we want to hit that. Y'all money makes this possible. Check some money orders. Go to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. The Cash App is $RM Unfiltered. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle is Roland at RolandSMartin.com.
All right, folks, welcome back to The Culture here on the Black Star Network. We have been talking about presidential candidate Nikki Haley, who is running for the big spot, how she's in some hot water and facing a backlash as she responded to a comment or question about the Civil War. When asked a very, very blunt question, what caused the Civil War, Nikki Haley decides to say everything else about the violations of freedoms and not protecting freedoms and all of these other things, except the obvious answer, which is slavery. The institution of slavery was at the root of the Civil War. Now she's receiving this backlash. That was yesterday. Today, she came out earlier saying that, one, she believes that the situation, the questioner was a Democratic plant, meaning someone from the Democratic Party came in to throw a trick question at you. So the plant throws a question about the Civil War in New Hampshire to a Republican presidential candidate, and you think, Miss Nikki Haley, you think that person was a plant. Oh, they were trying to get me all stumbled up. Well, guess what? They didn't have to go too far because you fumbled and bumbled and you got yourself in hot water. This wouldn't even have happened if she just had said, hey, it was about the institution of slavery. But it's the fact that you can't admit to that that is problematic for me, and it should be problematic for the American people, because what kind of person what kind of person who can't admit to the truth, who can't acknowledge history, how can you be in the White House? How can you be the president for all people? Oh, I get it. I get it now. True. She can't be the president for all people because she's not desiring to be the president for all people. Bing bong, that's what it is. It's not about, you're not going into public service to serve the public. You're going into public service to serve your base. Oh, okay. I got that. She said also on this radio show, she said, I think, no, let me just share this part because this is interesting. She said in this local radio interview, of course this was today, of course the Civil War was about slavery. Oh, so you can admit that now, but why didn't you say it in a simple question before? She said, we know that. That's the easy part of it. No, it's not the easy part of it, because if it was so easy, you should have said it the first time. She said, what I was saying was, what does it mean to us today? What it means to us today is about freedom. Freedom for who? See what I'm saying? So now you, oh yeah, what I mean to say was what it means to us today. Freedom for who? How does the freedom of Black people, oh, you didn't even say the word Black. You didn't say that in your original response. So you didn't say that. You didn't say Black people. You didn't say people who were enslaved. You didn't say none of that. And you said freedom for who? You talking about the government. You talked about the government imposing itself upon the people so the people don't feel free. But are you talking about Black people, or are you talking about white people? Who are you talking about? Who are you talking about? Boys of Blick, you said maybe we should all carry a pocket Confederate successions document around like our pocket constitutions. Maybe. And again, this is not about just her not acknowledging this part of American history. It's the simple fact that you are in a place, in a mental space where you don't even want to recognize this part of American history. So if you don't want to recognize something that happened over 100 years ago, what makes you think that I have the confidence that you will recognize my pain, my plight, my struggle as a Black man or a Black person in this country happening today, if you can't recognize it from over 100 years ago? I'll wait. If you can't acknowledge the pain of a people and of a country that was in such a savage state to even enslave another group of people, if you can't acknowledge that today from 100 plus years ago, how can we talk about civil rights? How can we talk about voter suppression? How can we talk about white privilege and human rights? How can we talk about those ideas if you simply can't acknowledge something that happened over 100 years ago, something that this country was the perpetrator of? You can't even say we were in a terrible place in America back then. That's not the America that I'm running for president of. We have gone, you couldn't even come up with us. Just out of humanity, right? Not even talking about political parties and stuff, just out of simple humanity. See, this is why it's problematic. Let's go back to y'all. And Corinna, I think you posted something. I'm looking for that comment. Let me see here. You posted a couple of comments. Per usual, no, you was responding to somebody, and I'm gonna find that comment, Corinna, in just in a minute. I'm gonna find it in a minute. But the idea, oh, here it is, Corinna. You said an issue with white domestic terrorists and white nationalists. This is way beyond political parties. There it is. There it is. The issue with white domestic terrorists and white nationalists, this is way beyond political parties. There it is. We're way beyond political parties at this point. When President Biden talks about fighting for the soul of democracy, if you are trying to restore the soul of anything, restore the soul of an individual, or and he using this very like spiritual like terms, right? But that soul needs to be put at rest, because right now the soul of democracy is being threatened, and this soul of democracy is not being it's all over the place. We don't know what the soul of democracy is right now, because America is embroiled in an internal conflict with itself. So you have individuals like a Nikki Haley and others, Donald Trump and others, who want us to believe one delusional reality about America. But then you do have other folks who are saying, no, we gotta embrace this. See, you can't put no soul at rest if you don't want to recognize the truth. That's even within ourselves. If you don't really know who you are, then how can you say that you are this type of person or that type of person if you never did the deep dive work of self-analysis? And that's the part of this process that this country, people always want us to move forward. Every time that there's a major moment in this country, y'all notice this? When there's major moments and things, we always ask we acknowledge the moment for like 30 seconds. And I'm just using this, I'm just using that as a term. But we acknowledge it for a very short period of time. And then we just like, all right, we move on. We good now. And we do not take the time to do the deep self-work of self-analysis. As a country, it's not a part of our culture. It's not encouraged that we do this soul work. For those who are in the healing space, that's what y'all call it, right? That you got to take time for that soul work. What's the soul work? America has yet to fully confront its past, its race issues, has yet to fully confront the fact that the institution of slavery has put a stain on the soul of this country. We kind of still dancing around it. In 2023, we're going into 2024, and we can't even acknowledge slavery as part of American history. Come on. I want to take a quick pause before we come back. We got to take another quick pause. Stay with me, folks. It's a lot to cover. But we're going to try to work through this. Stay with me. It's The Culture here on the Black Star Network.
Pull up a chair. Take your seat. The Black Tape with me, Dr. Greg Carr, here on the Black Star Network. Every week, we'll take a deeper dive into the world we're living in. Join the conversation only on the Black Star Network.
I'm Farajii Muhammad, live from LA. And this is The Culture. The Culture is a two-way conversation. You and me. We talk about the stories, politics, the good, the bad, and the downright ugly. So join our community every day at 3 p.m. Eastern and let your voice be heard. Hey, we're all in this together. So let's talk about it and see what kind of trouble we can get into. It's The Culture, weekdays at 3, only on the Black Star Network.
When you talk about blackness and what happens in black culture, you're about covering these things that matter to us, speaking to our issues and concerns.
This is a genuine people-powered movement.
There's a lot of stuff that we're not getting. You get it, and you spread the word.
We wish to plead our own cause. Too long have others spoken for us. We cannot tell our own story if we can't pay for it. This is about covering us. Invest in black-owned media. Your dollars matter. We don't have to keep asking them to cover our stuff. So please support us in what we do, folks. We want to hit 2,000 people, $50 this month, raise $100,000. We're behind 100,000, so we want to hit that. Y'all money makes this possible. Check some money orders. Go to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. The Cash App is $RM Unfiltered. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle is Roland at RolandSMartin.com. Folks, Black Star Network is here.
I'm real revolutionary right now.
Support this man, Black Media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America, Roland.
Stay black. I love y'all.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, this difference between Black Star Network and black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig?
All right, folks, welcome back to the show. Welcome to the culture here on the Black Star Network. Just, taking a look at what many of you are saying in the chat as we talk about Nikki Haley backpedaling on her comments about how the Civil War was started, what was the reason for the Civil War. Initially, she tried to frame it as the government infringing upon people's freedoms and not getting to the direct answer, which is the Civil War happened because of the institution of slavery. America were enslaving African people. Pastor Damon, you said it best. You talked about it. There's only one answer to the question. Doesn't matter who asks the question. It's not about being a Democratic plant. It's not about somebody trying to trip you up. If they trip you off from a very basic question that we should all know the answer to, then you shouldn't be president of the United States of America. That's all I'm gonna say, y'all. You shouldn't be president. You should not sit in the chair if you can't answer a simple question about a time in history that happened over 100 years ago. Are we happy it happened? No. But can we change it? No. At this point, it's history. It's history. But Nikki Haley acting like, and I think Sean Ryan, you checked in, you said, I wonder why she answered the question like that. What was her reasoning behind that? I was wondering too, Sean. Like, why is she answering the question like this? Why don't she not just say what it is? And see, now, at this point now, if you can't answer a straight up simple question, right, like this, then how can I believe that you're going to be able to answer the harder questions about the issues afflicting the American people? How can I put trust and confidence in your ability to give us a truthful analysis about where we are in this country if you get close to becoming president of the United States? So how can I trust your answer? Now it shows me that everything that you say from this point forward is so distorted that you live in an alternative reality in the universe that I can't put no trust and faith in what you have to say. And you may be trying to say the truth, but if you can't, this is what happens, folks, when you massage or you admit the truth, that whatever comes out your mouth after that point, we can't believe nothing. It's going to be, it diminishes the trust that we have in your word. And more importantly, it diminishes the trust that we have in your analysis of how things are at this point. What's the confidence in that? That's why Trump is a problem. That's why Santos was a problem, right? The fact is that when you lie or you omit the truth, especially when you're in public service, right? And I'm not expecting everybody to be the patron and beacon of truth. We wish that to be the case, but we know in this political system it's not the case. But when you constantly lie, when you are constantly at work trying to create a very untruthful or unrealistic view of history or unrealistic view of who you are, then how do we supposed to have trust and confidence in that? And I'm saying as the American people, how are we supposed to handle that? But then you get mad at people for questioning you simply because you want to put on a facade, a persona, a show. But then when somebody throws a question at you, when somebody call you out on your bull, then you get upset, you get irritated, you get agitated. Why? And then you can't even admit that you messed up. You can't say that. Nikki Haley, in her whole response to this backlash, can't even say, you know what, you're right. I should have just said boom, 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 boom. No, guess where you go now? Now you take us further down into this Twilight Zone, Black Mirror reality. It was a Democratic plan. But we're supposed to trust your ability to make serious decisions, right? To think about all Americans as president of this United States. Please. 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 Farajii, Tiz, you checked in and you said, Farajii, they will never acknowledge the stain of slavery. Too many people were involved. England, Catholic Church, Spain, Portugal, and insurance companies. Basically, slavery was a business, big business. Tiz, you ain't lying, man. You ain't lying. It was huge business. It was a big business. And guess what? Everything that came out from chattel slavery, the institution of chattel slavery, as one, as we talked about this before, we had another story, and it was said that slavery and the legacies, I love this term in describing Jim Crow, redlining, and all of these things that we are dealing with at this moment, the legacies of slavery, Tiz, the legacies of slavery continue to be the foundation of this chapter in our American history. That's the problem. So we can't get to the source. And so since we can't acknowledge the source of the issues, how are we going to accurately address the legacies, the offshoots, the effects? Because we can't speak directly to the cause of an issue. Come on, man, talk to me. Come on, talk to me, Tez. Great point, man. Great point. Great point. Cindy D, you said she's trying to call it state rights, as many races do. She's trying to call it everything else except for what it actually is, and that's the problem. That's the problem. We are in a serious situation. This is, and I'm going back to my sister Corinna Denise's tape. This is so much bigger than political party. If you think politics in this moment, it is so much bigger. The real reckoning that we have been talking about, that many people have been promoting to happen from 2020 around the killing of George Floyd and all that. You want to know what the real reckoning on this country will be? It's not just in police reform, because we got issues in all areas of life in this country. For Black, brown, white, for the Latino, for the Asian American, for all people, right? The real reckoning in this country is not policy. The real reckoning is the truth. America has a problem confronting the truth of who she is. And because that truth has yet to be fully embraced and acknowledged, this denial of the truth has permeated into the thinking of the American people. So now it's become so ingrained in our culture that we lie to ourselves. And then we put liars into positions of power and influence. And then we want the culture to continue to lie to us. And then, y'all see what the point I'm getting to? Y'all see the point I'm getting to? Lana, my sister, taking the last moment, you said we must demand our right. If you did it for them, you will do it for us. Black Americans must rise up. But you know how we must rise up, Lana? And we got to take another quick pause. The rising up starts with us always standing on truth, acknowledging where we are in this country. I'm tired of political leaders lying to us, telling us all is well when behind the closed doors and in those meetings, shit is falling apart. You want the American people to keep us thinking that, oh man, this country is good. We straight. Democracy is in peril today. Race relations is at an all-time high in terms of hatred among the people, right? Political polarization is real. And this is not trying to be the bearer of bad news. We got to look at this because somewhere along the line, the leaders think that the American people are like sheep, where we're just easily swayed and led, right? But so many of us, whether you're black or white, Asian, Latino, we're waking up to the reality that, look, man, stop lying to the American people about these things that affect not just our lives now, but affect generations down the road. How you gonna just lie and just omit and not acknowledge certain things? And then we want to say that we want to have a prosperous future. I don't want no future built on no lie, because any future built on a lie, it will soon become the past. Y'all hear me? Because that future ain't gonna stand. That thing is not gonna stand long. If America wants to truly, if this country truly wants to be sustainable and see the next 100 years in a very civilized state of existence, then we need to start to confront the truth of what this country is about. And the American people, we need to start to confront the truth within ourselves, because we can't make truth seem like just something that never should be dealt with. And then we're going to keep lying to ourselves. We're going to end up like Nikki Haley, looking stupid with the egg on your face, trying to backpedal into a different future. We can't do that no more. Folks, we got to take a quick pause. I'm done with her. Sing John James, thank you so much for joining us on the Bring the Phone fan club at a level 1. You supporting it, and I appreciate you supporting us here on The Culture and on the Black Star Network. We got to take a quick pause. When we come forward, let's switch gears. Let's talk about having healthy relationships. Let's talk about Simone Biles' husband. That's how I'm going to put him, Jonathan Owens, the player for the Green Bay Packers. Her husband and some of his problematic comments about male-female relationships, and how we can get to the truth of the matter and bring in some sense of union between men and women. Stay with us. The conversation up next with relationship coach Trinette Collier and you. You're tuned into The Culture here on the Black Star Network.
When you talk about blackness and what happens in black culture, we're about covering these things that matter to us, speaking to our issues and concerns.
This is a genuine people-powered movement.
There's a lot of stuff that we're not getting. You get it, and you spread the word.
We wish to plead our own cause. Too long have others spoken for us. We cannot tell our own story if we can't pay for it. This is about covering us. Invest in black-owned media. Your dollars matter. We don't have to keep asking them to cover our stuff. So please support us in what we do, folks. We want to hit 2,000 people, $50 this month, raise $100,000. We're behind 100,000, so we want to hit that. Y'all money makes this possible. Check some money orders. Go to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. The Cash App is $RM Unfiltered. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle is Roland at RolandSMartin.com.
I'm Farajii Muhammad, live from LA. And this is The Culture. The Culture is a two-way conversation. You and me. We talk about the stories, politics, the good, the bad, and the downright ugly. So join our community every day at 3 p.m. Eastern and let your voice be heard. Hey, we're all in this together. So let's talk about it and see what kind of trouble we can get into. It's The Culture. Weekdays at 3, only on the Black Star Network.
Folks, Black Star Network is here.
Oh, no punches!
I'm real revolutionary right now.
Support this man, Black Media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America, Roland.
I love y'all.
All momentum we have now, We have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, this difference between Black Star Network and Black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig?
All right, folks, welcome back to The Culture here on the Black Star Network. I'm your host, Farajii Muhammad. Thank you so much for tuning in and being a part of the discussions, the conversations that we had. Big shout out to my online culture crew. We got so many different folks in the chat today, and I appreciate the crew for keeping the conversation civilized and truthful and honest, folks, because that's what we're going to do. It's no problem that you join us in the chat and you have a different perspective. We encourage it. But it's a problem when you come into the chat and you just want to spew some just bunch of tomfoolery. And at the end of the day, we don't need any more of that. No more lying. Let's have conversations that's based on truth. Let's have conversations that's rooted in some real thought and not just talking up the side of your neck, as some would say. But a big shout out to my online culture crew on our YouTube chat, on the Facebook chat, and on the X platform. We truly appreciate it, folks. So thank you so much for being with us. Now, I want to switch gears because I want to talk about healthy relationships. We want to talk about male-female relationships. And I'm joined by a sister who is, she was a very special guest with us before, and to give us some insight about how we can kind of bridge the gap between men and women. This is always seems to be a real concern for a lot of people. And this is based on the recent comments made by Green Bay Packers football player, Mr. Jonathan Owens. You might be asking your question, who's Jonathan Owens? He's Simone Biles' husband, her new husband. They only been married just for a couple of months, and he already is just, whew, Lord Jesus. So, folks, we want to talk to the certified relationship coach. She is known as the inspirationalist. I'm happy to have her back on the air with me, Miss Trinette Collier Green. Trinette, thank you once again for being with us. How you feeling this afternoon?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm on fire, Trinette. I'm on fire.
I see.
It's the last few days. We got 3 days left before we end 2023.
Yeah.
I ain't trying to come to 2024 no BS, Trinette.
I know that's right.
I ain't doing that. I'm choosing me.
Well, we talked about that before. Remember, we said we have all the toxic people.
Hey man, I'm choosing. Hey, look, we choosing truth in 2024.
There you go. You got to.
Hey man, if the truth is ugly, choose it, because that's how you're gonna get clean. If it's a pretty truth, then so be it. But we choosing truth in 2024. All right. Let's talk a little bit about Jonathan Owens.
Yeah.
This has been a hot topic on social media.
It has. It
has opened the conversation up about male-female relationships. And Mr. Owens said a couple of things that I thought was just like, what? First, he said he met his wife. When he met his wife, they met on a platform called Raya, which is a dating app. But this is not one of those normal dating apps. It is a very exclusive, membership-based dating app that requires a lot of money to be a part of the app, right? Okay. There's some research on that. So they met, because you ain't gonna find no Simone Biles on any old dating app.
No.
So they met on a dating app, and he said first that he met her back in 2020. So we're talking about 3 years ago.
Yeah.
He did not know that who she was in 2020.
Yeah. You don't believe that?
I'm not a. I love the sport of gymnastics because of people like Simone Biles, Dominique Dawes. You know what I'm saying? Like when you have women who have just taken that sport to the next level.
Right.
How the hell in 2020 could you? You don't know who Simone Biles is. She is literally one of the greatest athletes, young athletes of our time. She was just taught. She was just awarded from Associated Press, Female Athlete of the Year for 2023,
and the most decorated.
Most decorated. She's an Olympic gold medalist.
Yeah.
And you happen to cross her on a dating app, which means that she's checking. She's being very selective.
Yeah.
And yet you still don't know who the hell she is.
Oh, I mean, that's kind of tricky now. That's kind of tricky because he's a football player, right? I don't know much about his football stats and whatnot. How long has he been playing?
I have no idea.
Okay. So
can I keep it real with you, Trinette?
Yeah.
I only knew that who he was because of Simone Biles. I'm gonna be honest.
Okay. Oh.
Hey, look, we might have. Hey, look, I'm gonna tell my team, Least, we might have to change that little part from Jonathan Owens to Simone Biles' husband because.
Don't you do that? Don't you do that?
Who knows him?
So, okay, do you think that she knew him?
She probably did. I don't know, but guess what? One thing she didn't do that he did was that she didn't embarrass the hell out of her damn spouse by saying she didn't know him.
Yeah, I do think that may have been the information that he could have kept to himself. But when I listened to the conversation, it seemed really innocent. It really did seem innocent. Now, that could be my perception, but it seemed like he really didn't know. And I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt to say that he was maybe because he's training, he's on the field, he's doing his thing, and he really doesn't have time to know. But, and at the same time, I'm thinking if you're on the app, shouldn't they have told you who this person was? Because now that you said that it was an exclusive app, I'm thinking if you're going to pay money like that, right, you're going to they're going to give you all the information, right?
Look, again, it's Simone Biles. If you see her name pop up, you should automatically be like, oh, snap, like, is this the real Simone Biles? Like, more questions like, I'm being catfish? But on an app like that, you would have, come on, bro. And even, come on, bro. Like, it don't even matter. How many times has other athletes, I've seen LeBron James congratulate athletes outside of the basketball space.
Right, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like when we talk about Simone Biles can be akin to like Tiger Woods, where he was at the prime of his golf.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Or like Venus and Serena Williams. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like who's dominating the sport? You can't be like, like that's just silly. And I got to take a quick pause, Trinette.
Yeah.
But it's just silly, right? Like, okay, all right. But then on the flip, along with that, okay, you didn't know who your wife was.
You're not easing up off of them. I can see.
No, hell no. The crazier part is now with this next comment saying that he's the catch, it gives me insight as to why he may say what he said, because he's not thinking beyond himself.
Yeah.
And there's a real problem with some of today's men. And I ain't talking about just black men. I'm just saying today's man,
right,
where there's this mindset like, oh, I'm the catch. But at the end of the day, that could be problematic. Just as much of this could be problematic if a woman has so much confidence in her, what she brings to the table.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it's this arrogance, Trinette, that I'm trying to get to, right? Like this arrogance. You could be all confident about yourself.
So there's a difference. Do you think he is teetering-tottering with the arrogance and confidence?
Yeah. Look, we got to take a quick pause. When we come back, let's have more conversation with certified relationship coach and the inspirationalist, Ms. Trinette Collier, And of course, I want to get your take on this crew. So post your comments as we're streaming live on Facebook, Roland Martin's Facebook page, and Roland Martin's YouTube page, and stay with us. It's the culture here on the Black Star Network.
Folks, Black Star Network is here.
Oh, no punches.
I'm real revolutionary right now.
Support this man, Black Media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America, Roland.
I love y'all.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, this difference between Black Star Network and Black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be Black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig?
I'm Farajii Muhammad, live from LA. And this is The Culture. The Culture is a two-way conversation. You and me. We talk about the stories, politics, the good, the bad, and the downright ugly. So join our community every day at 3 p.m. Eastern and let your voice be heard. Hey, we're all in this together. So let's talk about it and see what kind of trouble we can get into. It's The Culture, weekdays at 3, only on the Black Star Network.
When you talk about blackness and what happens in Black culture, we're about covering these things that matter to us, speaking to our issues and concerns.
This is a genuine people-powered movement.
There's a lot of stuff that we're not getting. You get it, and you spread the word.
We wish to plead our own cause. Too long have others spoken for us. We cannot tell our own story if we can't pay for it. This is about covering us. Invest in Black-owned media. Your dollars matter. We don't have to keep asking them to cover our stuff. So please support us in what we do, folks. We want to hit 2,000 people, $50 this month, raise $100,000. We're behind 100,000, so we want to hit that. Y'all money makes this possible. Check some money orders. Go to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. The Cash App is $RM Unfiltered. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle is Roland at RolandSMartin.com.
All right, folks, welcome back to The Culture here on the Black Star Network. I'm your host, Farajii Muhammad, talking to certified relationship coach Trinette Collier, also known as the Inspirationalist, as we talk about these comments made from Jonathan Owens, i.e. the husband of Simone Biles, how he says that he believes that he's the catch and that he didn't know who Simone Biles was. Now, of course, social media dragged this man. They dragged him for putting himself out there like that. Now, let me just give you a little bit of the backstory. He's been in the league for 5 years. So he joined the league in 2018. He's not been officially he wasn't a starter. Pastor Damon, you say he went from the Texans to the Packers, right? So he's already, crisscrossing teams in his first 5 years, right? Okay, that's fine. And my team, one of my producers, Lee, said that he just hit $1 million, which means that this year, let me just put this in context. That means that you weren't at the top of the list in terms of getting that time. $1 million is probably like standard in the NFL when you are just coming into the bit, because these guys aren't getting $1 million contracts. These guys, I'm talking about when you're a starter. Yeah, you're getting money. And not to say $1 million is some chump change, it's not. Right. But I'm saying in the world of the NFL, that's a very low end of the totem pole, right? Like very low end. At one point, starters, those who were on the bench, who would literally sit on the bench, get at least between 500 to $1 million. So that just goes to show you, if he's just touching $1 million after he's been in the league for 4 or 5 years, that means that he really wasn't that guy.
He doesn't have any money.
He might have some money. I mean, $1 million is still cool. I mean, you got to take taxes out of it. But I mean, if you are Simone Biles, and as you know, the word is that she pursued him.
Right.
Right. So she did pursue him. So she probably liked him and, talked to him and felt like, his energy. But I'm saying in terms of social status,
yeah,
she's clearly above this guy.
Right.
In terms of social status.
Right.
Now, he might be a fantastic, all of the other metrics is fine. But I'm just saying in terms of who is more famous,
it would be Simone Biles.
It would definitely be Simone Biles.
I was looking through the comments and it was, oh my gosh, the people are horrible, right? And I was looking through some. One said Mr. and Mrs. Simone Biles, right? Right. Another one was like Simone Biles' husband. One even named like Mr. Biles, right? So my thing is, and then look at the age too. Simone is 26, he's 28. And for me, I'm gonna say I'm old school, but it's still that I guess you would call it tradition. He who finds a wife. And so she pursued him, right? So I'm thinking in his mind, yes, he is a catch because she went after him. And I bring up the age because I do notice that this new crew, what is it, Gen Z? Are they Gen Z or so?
I don't know.
I don't know either, but I do know that the women are taking matters into their own hands and meaning they are doing more of the pursuing and they are doing the, more of the I'm shooting their shot, type of deal. And so now I'm wondering, like, did they date and how did they date? How did they court? Going back to some of those traditional ways of really getting to know your mate. Because when you listen to him and he says he's the catch, I do wonder if it is that arrogance or is it really confidence? Is it a arrogant? Sometimes I can't tell these days because in the video, he seemed really, youthful, that whole millennial sense of humor type of deal.
Right.
So that's why I say I'm kind of on the fence if it was arrogance. But as a man, in your perspective, how do you see it? How do you see it? You said arrogance, right?
I see it's a little bit of arrogance in a sense that and I mean, of course, when you're dealing with someone of her stature, right?
Yeah.
Who is dominating and essentially leading the sport, right?
Yeah.
You gotta ask yourself as the man. And I think a lot of men, when a woman comes into the picture, like, my team told me Simone Biles brings in $16 million a year.
Ooh. And then compared to
and you're bringing in $1 million. Now, here's the thing, Trinette. Here's the thing. This is 2023, so certain things can change, but you still can maintain some sense of partnership and respect and everything, right? So even if the woman is making more money than you, and it's clear that Simone Biles is, as a person, is not tripping off of the money that she makes versus the money that he, you know what I'm saying? Because she could have chosen a man that made a lot more money. Right. Yeah. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? So she must have really gone after this dude because of his heart and his mind and everything else, right? And it's clear, right? Yeah. And she doesn't seem like the type of woman who she doesn't mind, just saying, all right, you're going to lead the way. Right. You're going to lead the way, right? Yeah. So if that's the case, then and what the possibilities could be for her. Yeah. That's the part I'm talking about. If you're the person that you're pursuing is a high profile individual, and essentially that they could have chosen a lot of different other people. And I think there's a bigger conversation now, Trinette, about options. And I always say to folks, people don't have as many options as they think. Just because you got 100 people in the room doesn't mean you have 100 options.
That's true. That's true.
Because you're not going to connect. The chemistry, the level of the quality of the connection is not going to be the same. So you can have 100 people in the room. You have 10 people that you connect with, but 3 of them are actually options.
Right. Exactly.
That's
so I
how
wonder,
I see
was she acting in desperation? I wonder who the other people were. I wonder.
I mean, she might have not. I don't think she would act in desperate. I don't. And again, of course, we don't know her.
Yeah,
but,
we don't know her.
But I don't think it's a
options?
desperation, right? Like, I think that if you are being intentional about getting into a relationship, when those red flags come up, then in your intentionality, you'll be like, you know what, this is not for me. Right. They went from dating app to marriage.
Yeah.
So you mean, and this wasn't like 6 months, this was like a couple of years that they went from dating app to marriage.
Yeah.
So you mean to tell me that during that period, if those red flags popped up, that she wouldn't have said, you know what, this doesn't work for me.
Right.
She knows what kind of man that she's dealing with in most of the, you know what I'm saying? Like, she gets a sense of what kind of person he is.
Right. And that's why I say I'm on the fence about the whole arrogance. I don't feel like he is arrogant with that. I really do feel like this is one, by them being a young couple, right? And so everything is social media. So, and they feel like they have to talk about everything about the relationship. And I think that he just really wasn't thinking when he made that comment, and it's like, oh yeah, I'm the catch. But she was on the sideline. She was defending him. She stepped in and she was like, the way she was you could tell that she was proud of him, and she was proud that she pursued him. So it wasn't hidden that, she pursued him and that she wanted him, because she clearly she shut down the internet and the rumors to let everybody know, hey, this is my man and I'm going to stick beside him. This man right here,
Right.
And so I do, I think that is, in turn, I can appreciate that with her being as a woman saying, like, listen, this is my relationship. And he made this comment. I'm not shaken by it. I know what he means, but they also have to understand too, that social media was going to eat them up with that phrase, with that comment, So, and this is my question to men and the women. Why can't we say a man is the catch as well? Why can't
I don't mind it. No, here's the thing, and here's the thing about that, right?
Yeah.
I think that part of that is, first thing, if you are somebody, you don't need to say it.
Yeah.
Somebody else will say that for you. It's like a man or a parent or something. If the parent says, I'm a good parent.
Yeah.
Well, did you ask the people who you are parenting whether you're a good parent? Right? Like if you're going to ask a woman, if you want to ask a man, do you think you're a good husband? How can I, in my way, give you an accurate answer when I'm the one that you're asking about? What do you think I'm going to say? Versus if you say, oh, Farajii, you're a good husband, you're a good parent, you're a good friend, you're a good this, you're a good that. Ask the people who I'm in a relationship with to get a better sense. I remember my uncle told me this years ago. This was years ago, Trinette. He said, if you want to see the measure of a man, look at his family.
That's deep.
If you want to see if a man is a good man, look at his significant other and look at his children.
Yeah.
Are they happy? Are they fed? Are they clean? Is the woman happy? Is she well taken care of? If you want to see what see what I'm saying? The thing is and I think that's the part about this, and say, I'm the catch. Well, that's all well and good, but she should say, he was the catch. I pursued him. You know, he brought something to the table that I really love. It's one thing. But if you want to see and that goes for the women too. Right. You can't say, oh, I'm a good woman. And then and then the people you're in a relationship with don't say that.
Yeah, yeah. So do you think that platform was, what should he have said? I don't think he should have said that at all.
I mean, he probably made it. Some people in the chat was like, Farajii just made a joke and all of that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's cool. But see, we're in the area of social media. I know we got to take another pause. We're in the area of social media. So certain things, especially if you're a high profile individual, you could be making a joke, but it's going to catch. So you got to make sure that you're like, no, I'm just joking. Really, she's the one. Even though the story is that she pursued him or she, you know what I mean? It's like if a man thinks that, and I think the other part of this is that so many women are complaining how men aren't putting in the effort nowadays, right? Aren't being consistent, being honest. But the effort, that's the big piece. Like, what is the effort that men put in? And I've heard so many conversations of young women who are saying Black men and other men that are in their 30s to 40-year-olds, they're not putting in the effort to court a woman, to wine and dine a woman. They just come in and just, hey, let's jump right to the intimacy. And if I can blow your back out.
And that was my question earlier.
No, we're gonna keep it real. Let's keep it real, right? Like that's the only metric right nowadays. It's like, oh, I'm that guy because I can do what I do in the bedroom, and versus whining and dining and courting and shining.
And that's what I want to know. What was their dating life look like? What was it like? What did they do? Because he was very confident, and when he said that, and he didn't backpedal on it or anything like that. He was like, I said what I said. I'm the catch. So that does, again, that's what I was saying earlier. Like, what was their dating life like? Did he court her properly? Did he date her properly? Did he ask to date her and whatnot? What was their conversation before they got married?
That's what I mean. And look, and they're married now, right?
Right.
I mean, he kind of, it is, and I'm happy that they're married. I'm not even mad that they're married. Yeah. But I think that, in the larger zeitgeist of how people are having conversations around relationships, which is why we wanted to have this conversation with you.
Yeah.
Is that it can become very toxic. And if a man doesn't know that, even if he feels like he's the catch, right? So you feel like you're the catch. This is the slippery slope. So if you feel like she's the catch, or you're the catch as a man, do you not take her out? Do you not give her flowers? Do you expect her to do that? Or do you expect her to plan the dates too?
If she's comfortable with that, guess what?
But you see what I'm saying? And most women, and I've seen, and I've talked to sisters who are now in a space of like, look, I want, and this is what we see. I want a man to be a man. I want a man to lead. Now, that doesn't mean that you got to lead all the time or with this domineering, controlling attitude.
Yeah.
But you at least have to take the lead. How does a woman know that you're interested in her if you don't put in no effort? How does a woman know that you are going to protect her, that you're going to give her the world? Remember them old school 1990s R&B records from that? They'd be like, I give you the sun, the rain, the moon, the stars, and the mountains.
I think y'all got tired of doing that. I think y'all got tired of doing that. And it goes back to that question. We have to define or redefine what is dating, what should a man do. Like we really do now have to have these discussions on what does dating look like. And that is that big question mark that is hovering over a lot of these relationships prior, and you said something earlier about the whole, jumping right to the intimacy. Like maybe that's new for a lot of people. Like maybe that's what it is. But again, we don't have a direct, like a defined definition of what is dating, because there's so many aspects of it. And so when their fathers and the mothers are teaching now the 20-year-olds plus the millennials, what do you tell that person? Do how do you teach your daughters and your sons to date? What is acceptable? What is not? You know, do we still go by the a man opening the door? What is it, chivalry? Are we still accepting that?
That's and see, there it is. There it is, right? Jeanette, come on, let's be for real. I gotta take another break. Like so here's the thing. This is why I say it's a slippery slope. I think the man could be confident about who he is and what he brings to the relationship. But then it's a slippery slope. Or do you want her to open the door for you, bro?
Listen.
Some dudes like standing at the door waiting. She'd be like, wait, what you doing? Oh, I thought you was gonna open. Man, you better get your ass out that car, man. Open the door. I mean, chivalry should not be dead. You know what I'm saying? But I'm making a little fun of it. But I'm just saying, at the root of it, right? The man, and I think a lot of women, and I don't see no major cultural shift on this, but a lot, and I'm talking about Black women, still want a man to protect and to provide.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about just money. I'm talking about being emotionally available. I'm talking about being present in those moments, in those important times in a woman's life. I'm talking about that protection and providing.
Right.
That's what a lot of women are still looking for. And you can't be like, well, I'm the man, I'm the catch. So who's going to protect and provide for me? And that's a great question, brothers. That's a great question, fellas.
Yes.
But if we do, and I'm saying get back to some of those old school values on some things, not on everything, but on some things, then that part of her is going to be tapped in when she is going to create the heaven on earth in your home.
Because she's 26 now, and a change is about to come. A shift is going to come in a female and also in the male. So when she hits that point of her shifting, she's in her 20s. When she hit that 30s, those 30s, something's going to click. And I'm praying for the relationship. I want them to succeed. I want them to, but I think this is where they need that marriage mentor, that couple mentor to come in and say, hey, brother, you know what? Let's these comments, or, just kind of revisit that, because she may look at that later on. Who knows? We don't know. But like I said, from just the video clip, she was very adamant. Hey, he said what he said, and I don't have a problem with it. It's YZ. But however, when you're, like you said, when you're looking down the line later on in the years, when they're celebrating 4 or 5 years, and plus, I'm pretty sure she's going to have a thought about that comment, and it depends on his actions as well. That goes along with, over the time.
And social media will make you feel like you're on the right path. I know you're a certified relationship coach, and that's why I'm constantly bringing this up. Yeah, this ain't somebody. You're not just a woman that just be like, oh well, this is what I think. Right. You've gone and gotten training to help people through these things. Yeah. And I think that social media will make people believe that they can just go out into the world and say whatever. And more importantly, that they got all these options, and people, social media will make you feel like you are somebody other than who you truly are.
Yes. And they will make your marriage.
Because we don't know you. We don't know you. We don't know who you are behind the pictures and, the backgrounds. Oh, I'm in this place. I'm at this. I'm taking this trip and all of that. We don't know you. We don't know you beyond. You might just bought that handbag for the $2,000, right? But the handbag might have been the only major purchase you made in the past 5 years.
Exactly.
You don't know.
We don't know. You
might have been saving up 6 months to get the handbag. We don't know.
Just eating raw. Not eating. Just so you can post your picture.
Just so you can post.
And that's what is going on with Instagram, Insta marriages. We want and that's why I always tell people I like to be honest and transparent. Your relationships, there are great marriages and the start of marriages, but sometimes we get on these apps and we just post the good and the jumping out of bed, and we're going to the local coffee shop and we're having lunch at this place and we making reels and all of this, but you're not addressing what's going on behind the closed doors, even though you don't need to do that publicly, but at the same time, don't fake the funk.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Look, we got to take a quick pause. Let me see. So many people are checking in. David, you said Farajii, that is fan fiction. We don't know these people. Laughing my ass off. We don't know these people. I don't know.
No, we don't.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But you would think that, after the situation with Keke Palmer, that a man wouldn't come out and just try to put his significant other on blast or act as if she's not somebody.
Yeah.
You want to try to diminish her life. And you see what I'm saying? You're trying to diminish her life.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Which is the problem. So I think that's part of, but I agree with you, David. We don't know. We don't know.
Right.
McCole, you said that part, responding to Sister Lana. You said, Lana, the D, I'm going to just put it like that because y'all can get explicit. Y'all explicit today. The D and dollars are not enough to keep a relationship.
Ooh.
Come on, man.
Hey.
Come on, man. But see, that's part of the social media world when you got these dumbass memes and that's all you think all a woman needs is some D and some dollars and she be happy. Well, I give her, some of us can't even give her that.
Listen, social media has become the new relationship coaches. Everybody's a guru and everybody has gone through all of these relationships and people tend to listen to them versus actually going to actual marriage therapists, counselors, coaches, or even the elders. Like, if you don't want to do all of that, go to your elder who's been married in your family, or so like we just don't want to do that. We'd rather go and look at the memes and pattern our life off of a meme that somebody miserably was sitting behind and created.
Absolutely. Look, I got to take a quick pause. When we come back, I want to bring up a point about this that one of my producers brought up, and I think it's an essential point. So we'll talk a little bit more about this. And if we have enough time, we possibly can get into the fact of what is happening in the great state of South Carolina and our history. Stay with us. More conversation with certified relationship coach, the inspirationalist, Ms. Trinette Collier, and you right here on The Culture on the Black Star Network.
When you talk about blackness and what happens in black culture, we're about covering these things that matter to us, speaking to our issues and concerns.
This is a genuine people-powered movement.
There's a lot of stuff that we're not getting. You get it, and you spread the word.
We wish to plead our own cause. Too long have others spoken for us. We cannot tell our own story if we can't pay for it. This is about covering us. Invest in black-owned media. Your dollars matter. We don't have to keep asking them to cover our stuff. So please support us in what we do, folks. We want to hit 2,000 people, $50 this month, raise $100,000. We're behind 100,000, so we want to hit that. Y'all money makes this possible. Check some money orders. Go to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. The Cash App is $RM Unfiltered. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle is Roland at RolandSMartin.com.
I'm Farajii Muhammad, live from LA. And this is The Culture. The Culture is a two-way conversation. You and me. We talk about the stories, politics, the good, the bad, and the downright ugly. So join our community every day at 3 p.m. Eastern and let your voice be heard. Hey, we're all in this together. So let's talk about it and see what kind of trouble we can get into. It's The Culture. Weekdays at 3, only on the Black Star Network.
Folks, Black Star Network is here.
Oh, no punches!
I'm real revolutionary right now.
Support this man, Black Media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America, Roland.
Stay black. I love y'all.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, this difference between Black Star Network and black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig?
All right, folks, welcome back to the Culture here on the Black Star Network. I've got certified relationship coach Trinette Collier joining me. She is the inspirationalist, and folks, we'll be hearing more from her going into 2024. So I'm very, very excited about the conversations that we're going to have. But talking about Jonathan Owens.
Did you just freeze your face?
I just want people be like, Jonathan Majors, who's Jonathan Owens? Exactly. Simone Biles' husband.
Simone Biles' husband. And it's funny because when I was Googling how old Jonathan Owens was, guess what came up? Simone Biles' husband. And I was like, oh my gosh. Really? Like
see, here's the thing. He's trying to act like this ain't Beyonce, Jay-Z.
Right. Yeah.
Where they had their own identity. And I'm not saying Jonathan doesn't have his own identity.
Right.
But you know what I'm saying? In that relationship, it's what some would probably say more of being equally yoked. They're both at the top of their game, right?
Yeah.
In a lot of ways, right?
Right.
But they still, and I'm speaking to their relationship of Jay-Z and Beyonce, there's still a sense of tradition. There's a traditional construct that is applied to their relationship. That as great as Beyonce is, we know that Jay-Z makes more or is worth more or quote unquote can provide. Even at that level, that woman, and I know this, I'm telling you, this is, y'all gonna get mad at me, but I know Beyonce is a Virgo woman. She ain't hearing 50-50.
That you know that. Ooh.
As a Virgo woman, she ain't hearing no 50-50. She hearing your money is my money and my money is your money. And if you take care of me, I'm gonna take care of you. I know that without a shadow of doubt. I know that. And a lot of women will do that. I know a lot of women, whether they're Virgos or not, y'all.
Yeah.
But whether they are like, if you take care of me, I will take care of you. And this goes beyond intimacy. This is talking about emotionally. This is talking about economically. This is talking about, I'll be there to support, to be there to hold the family down. If you're doing what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
And I think that that's just part of the problem. And the piece that I'm seeing and that I wanted to kind of get your take on, Trinette, is this parental piece, how the generation of Generation Z, X and Y, millennials, like what are the messages that we're teaching our children, especially our boys and girls, Black boys and girls, at this moment? Because if the messaging for boys is the only way you need to get a woman is because of your sex game and money, and the messaging for girls is find you a man that can save you. Right. And I'm talking about what is the messaging that is being enforced upon the hearts and minds and spirit of Black boys and girls? What's your take on that?
So that's a good question. And that's something that we need to start addressing in our conversations. Because what has happened and what I've seen over time, being a Gen Xer myself, I realized that most of us, and I say some of us, but what happened was we didn't heal from those previous baby mama, baby daddy breakups, right? And so we didn't heal from the college boyfriends, college girlfriends, or those toxic relationships we had back in the 90s. And so when we started having children or whatnot, and we're given this relationship advice, the first thing that comes out of our mouth is, don't you let no man do you X, Y, and Z. Don't you let no woman do this. Don't let no woman take your money. Don't you be. So we're passing down toxic advice. Unhealed parents and unhealed, family members, not just the parents, because now you do have some families where all the aunties are giving this toxic advice to the girl, the next generation, right? And vice versa. So we haven't sat down to really have this honest conversation and say, you know what? I made a few mistakes, but I don't want you to go down this path. You can have a healthy relationship. So you do have a pattern of broken relationships, passing down broken, toxic advice to the next generation. And guess what? Now the men and women are just out here pursuing each other and not knowing why they want to be in a relationship, not understanding relationships, not understanding the roles of men and women. And what happens? We take to social media. We get advice from other bitter girlfriends and other toxic guys sitting around. And so now you still have this vicious cycle, and it's going to continue until someone stops and say, listen, it's okay to love on a man. It's okay to celebrate your man. It's okay to have a healthy and happy relationship. Everybody's not filled with trauma. Like, I've never seen so much trauma pass on and on and on every year. Every year, we as a people in our relationships, we have trauma, and nobody wants to start healing, And I don't really think that we're understanding that we do have the next generation. Like I was telling my nieces, like, listen, your auntie made some relationship mistakes. However, y'all don't have to do this. Here, let's talk about dating. What is dating like now? Like, start talking to the millennials. Ask them what is dating like now, because their dating technique is totally different from how we used to date.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
I was going to say that I think that you got to really be intentional.
Yes.
Right. Like, are you in this space of just meeting people just to sleep with them, or are you in this space to really cultivate a connection and have a fulfilling relationship, right? Like, I think it needs to be instant. I think the intention is a huge part of it, right?
Yes.
And unfortunately, I feel like the culture is all about a la carte partnership. We want to like pick and choose, right? Like, you might, quote unquote, you have, and this is terminology that's used, like you have a roster. So you got this person for the sex, this person for the money, this person because he or she is emotionally available. And you're trying to build a partner.
Build a man or build a woman. Yep. That's what
you're trying to build a partner with 3 or 4 different people, not understanding that they're each bringing in something, and at the end of the day, you got to ask yourself, well, who am I in this process?
Yes, and that's the problem, because when you know who you are, you know what you want in a relationship. You know what you want as a person. So you're not going to do the whole settling. You're not going to, just take whatever. And you're going to understand, like, listen, and then that goes back to that dating. What is dating? Because dating, like I give the young girls, the 26-year-old, the millennials, I said, listen, enjoy dating, but make sure that you understand what dating is and you're honest with that partner. If you want somebody that you want to just go hang out with at the movies or, go eat, make that very clear when you start connecting with these people, and vice versa. Even with the guys, understand what dating is. Don't get into a serious exclusive relationship and good and doggone well you in your early 20s and it's a whole lot of other folks out here, and you want to just narrow it down to that one person. If you don't know, again, you have to go back to who you are and what you want. If you want to just date, then do that, but have the understanding what dating is. And that's that line, the miscommunication, the lines are blurred. And that's the problem, because now nobody wants to tell each other the truth, or we don't want to really say, hey, you know what? I really just want you as a cut buddy. I don't like you like that. I just need a little, Can you come over at 5 on Fridays? That's all I need you for. We don't have that honest conversation. Not that I condone it, but that's the reality.
Even that, look, I think, look, we talking to adults, and we got to close out the show. We're talking to adults, and I think a lot of us know that when we were younger, we used to think that was sustainable, or that was cool, or that was fun, and then after we've had these experiences, we've all probably just been like, man, that ain't gonna lead to nothing. Right. It's going to cause more harm than good down the road, because you're going to be caught up in a situation, and then there's all these mixed messages, and then nobody is saying exactly what they're feeling. And more importantly, no boundaries are being set in the process. So you got all this stuff happening, and then you're like, nah, this works for me. I'm good.
Right.
And you're not good.
You're not.
You're not good. And then this is you're not. There's so many things that are like left uncertain in that connection that it becomes a problem. Look, I know that this is an ongoing conversation, Trinette.
Yes, it is. Woo.
Can a man be a catch? He can be, but let the woman or his partner tell him that he's a catch. That's my answer.
Yeah.
You can't say I'm a catch. I'm going back to what my uncle said. The measure of a man, you want to see what a man is all about, look at the woman, look at the person in his life. And if he has children, look at the children in his life. You can tell a lot. You can tell a lot. Because I don't care what you see from, look, we laugh at Nick Cannon, right? But here's the one thing, though. Nick Cannon is, I guess, if we don't know him,
right,
that he's doing something to try to support it. You know what I'm saying? We don't know. But you got to ask the children. You got to ask the women in men's lives, is this guy the guy that he puts himself out there to be? And going into 2024, Trinette, we got to be honest, man.
That's it. We got to be.
We got to be honest. We got to. There's so much so much work that has to be done because the rupture between the sexes is huge.
It's huge, especially in our community. We got to bridge that gap. So,
all right, Trinette. Hey, look, we're gonna have you come back on. You're going to give us a lot of great advice. How can people follow you and find you on social media right now?
All social media platforms. I am Trinette L. Collier or the Mailroom 7671. That's just type it in Trinette Collier and it'll pull up.
There it is right there. Trinette Collier, the certified relationship coach, the inspirationalist. She'll be joining us here on The Culture in 2024, inspiring you to develop better relationships with your loved ones. Woo! I like it. I like it. Can't wait to have you on. Trinette Collier, thank you so much for your time today. And most importantly, thank you for being so good for the culture.
Thank you.
Absolutely. All right, folks, that's going to do it for me. I thank each and every one of you for tuning in. Big shout out to my production crew. As always, making sure that the show comes across as professional as possible. So thank you so much to my team. I thank, of course, all of you for checking in, whether you're on the X platform, Facebook platform, or our YouTube chat. Man, the chat was jumping today. So big shout out to my online culture crew. Thank you for making today's show so good. And of course, tomorrow will be the final show of the new year. Of the old year. Can you believe it? We're at the end, folks. We're at the end. So I'm going to have my sister Corinna. I'm going to have Corinna on tomorrow, y'all. God willing, we're going to have Corinna. We're going to chop it up, right, Corinna, me and you. As always, we're going to bring Fire Fridays back to you one more time for 2023. So we'll have that conversation tomorrow. Make sure y'all do your due diligence. Support us here on Black Star Network, man. We're doing our best to make sure that we're covering the conversations, the topics, and just the culture in general. Go to our website today. Download the app for free. Follow us on social media. And please give something. Anything that you give. I know it's the end of the year. I know the holidays just passed, but trust and believe, we need your support. So go to our website today at blackstarnetwork.com. And we cannot thank you enough for your support and being an investor and a stakeholder in this movement. All right, that's going to do it for me. Stay tuned up next 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Roland Martin Unfiltered. As always, never be afraid to challenge what's wrong. Stand for what's right while being yourself in the process. God willing, we'll talk tomorrow for another exciting edition of The Culture right here, only here, exclusively here on the Black Star Network. Have a great evening. Peace.